number 1, just a review of yesterday. What type of shape is number 1?
I'm sorry, Miss Carter has a question.
Yes.
Is anybody wanting to retake the ASVAB test? I said the
This is for sophomores. Did freshmen take that?
No, freshmen do
did
not, just sophomores.
What test?
The ASVAB, the one you take for
With military?
and basic and all that
I
other stuff.
never took that.
The whole school took it in the auditorium.
I think I've been asked.
Been asked, do you want to take it? Yes. Okay, so one of you. Okay. Anybody else?
We're missing, like, Cannon's not in here, Shay's not in here, Edward's not here, and Krista's not here. But
I'll give her an update. Yeah, there's like, what, 30-something kids absent today?
is it real? Oh, in the whole school?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. I know a
Thanks,
couple were
Cannon.
late, but
Yeah. Goodness, that's a
okay. I'll
lot.
just give her a roundabout with whomever was in class.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right. So number 1, that's a lot of kids, y'all. What shape is that? What type of parallelogram is number 1?
It's a rectangle.
Rectangle. Because the opposite sides are equal, not all the sides are equal. What type of parallelogram is number 2?
Square.
It is a square.
All sides are equal.
Because all the sides are equal and it's 90-degree angles. I know it's turned sideways, but you have to look for the things that you learned. What type of parallelogram is number 3?
Rhombus.
Rhombus, because you don't know the angles. What about number 4?
That's
So for it to be, let's see, I've got to think through this one. I know it's a parallelogram. These are all 90-degree angles, right? And these sides are parallel. So these sides are going to be parallel. So it's going to be a rectangle. I don't know anything about the length of these, like for it to be a square. So it's going to be a rectangle. What about number 5?
rhombus.
Rhombus. All the sides are the same. Don't know any of the angles, if they're 90 or not. Okay, then really quick, I'm not going to go through this whole paper. Let's do I'll just do number 6 since that one's circled. Okay, what are all the angles? If I know this one is 54.
Number 2 is 54.
Number 2 is 54. Yes, be very careful on that. Number 2 would be 54. Let's see. So I'm going to write 54 based on that. Now, if it's a rhombus, we did learn something yesterday about the diagonals of the rhombus. What happens? It splits them into
2.
to 2 equal parts. Yeah. So number 3 is also 54. How would you then find number 4?
Well, you add up 54 and subtract that from 180.
That's right. So whatever 180 minus 108, which is what?
74 or 76.
72.
Sorry.
Wait. 72.
Yeah, I think so.
72. And if this one's 72, what's
I'm
the
stupid.
the one across from it is also 72. And y'all, do y'all remember isosceles triangles? If the sides are equal, the base angles are equal. Notice this right one is an isosceles triangle. If these sides are equal, what would I know about those base angles? They're
They're
equal.
also-
You can use random stuff that we learned from geometry.
I have a message for you.
Okay, I'm recording that, okay? She'll be heard. Y'all are so listening.
Listen to me, but you're literally involved in the gossip.
I was just told some information.
That's gossiping. Well, I mean, unless you don't say.
That wasn't even about what they're talking about. They just moved on. Leaving the conversation.
I don't know,
Okay, it's really not even that big of a deal. It's not even bad gossip. Okay, then, let's see. Oh, what do we know? Let's skip way down here to the bottom. It says that this is a rectangle. So what do we know about the diagonals? I'm looking at like number 14. Okay, what do I know about the diagonals of a rectangle? What did we learn yesterday? They're equal, yeah. So I would just set x equal to 2x minus 7. I'm not going to go through and solve, but does everybody remember all these little things? Okay, so that's enough of a review from yesterday. I think we may have even learned some other stuff I can't remember, probably. Yeah. Okay. So let's look at today's stuff. Let me see what we're doing. Lesson 6. We are just flying through, y'all. Oh, it looks so, it's the same thing. Now this says we're going to learn about rhombuses, rectangles, and squares again. Yay. So these are conditions for rhombuses, rectangles, and squares. So I'll show you our first little bit of information. Okay. And do I have y'all's paper printed? I do. I'm just making sure we're all lined up, squared away. Okay. It says if this is a parallelogram, all right? So because we're dealing with parallelograms, right? And the diagonals are perpendicular. What does perpendicular mean? 90 degrees. You learned that, I know, before 4th grade, but I definitely know in 4th grade because we had some homework last night or 2 days ago about perpendicular. So y'all know perpendicular means 90 degrees. Okay, so it's basically backwards, y'all. Remember, we learned this yesterday. If it's a rhombus, then what did we learn? The diagonals create 90-degree angles. So guess what I'm learning today? If it's a parallelogram and the diagonals form 90-degree angles, then it's a rhombus. It's the converse. So we're just switching. Basically, it's the same lesson over again. Okay? Are we good with that one? Yep. All right, then a couple more of these. You also learned about rhombuses, and we just went over this. If you know that this is a parallelogram and you have a diagonal and the little angles are equal, they were split into 2 equal parts, then it's a rhombus. Because yesterday, what did you learn? If it's a rhombus, then the diagonal splits it into 2 equal angles. Do y'all remember that one? We went over one like that a little bit ago. So now backwards. If it's a parallelogram and the diagonal is drawn so that the angles are equal, then it is a rhombus, okay? Now let's go to what we learned about a rectangle. What did you learn about the rectangle? That the diagonals are equal. So this one says, hey, if your diagonals are equal and it's a parallelogram, then in what? It's a rectangle, all right? Basically the same thing. What would you say about a square? All the things we just went over. Because a square is a rectangle and a rhombus. So you would know all those things we just went over are true for a square. Okay, so now based on that information, oh, I don't want you to see your answers. All right, can you conclude that A is a rhombus, a rectangle, or a square? So read what it has. So I know it's a picture, but you can read into this picture. There's a diagonal, and the angles are split into congruent parts.
So it's a rhombus.
It's a rhombus. Okay? We don't know that it's a square because we would have to know that the diagonals were equal, right? We'd also have to know like rectangles information. Okay, this one. Oh, here we go. This one, we see that the diagonal pieces are equal. Do y'all see that? And they intersect at 90-degree angles.
Square.
So this one is a square because it's both of those things. It was a rhombus and a rectangle. All right. So we got square, we got rhombus. Let's see. I think I have some more pictures. You want to do a couple more of these? Let's look at number 8. What is that one?
So rhombus.
Number 8 is a rhombus. Number 9, what is that one? Be careful.
Rectangle.
It's a rhombus.
Yeah.
Rhombus has 2 bits of information. that the angles are split into two equal parts and it intersects at 90 degrees. Okay? That's both of those meet a rhombus. This one is what?
Rectangle.
The diagonals are equal. So, well, let's see. I don't know that the diagonals are equal. This diagonal has equal parts. This diagonal has equal parts. But do I know that each diagonal is the same length? I don't have enough information on that one. That one was kind of confusing, so you can't conclude anything. Okay, do I have any more? No, none of those. Okay, let's keep going. Number 10, that one was actually a little confusing. Number 2, I've only got 3 problems today, y'all. We're making it. Let me cover up my information. So this says, all right, what is X gonna have to be to make this a rhombus? So what do I know about a rhombus? What do I know about those 2 little angles if it's a rhombus?
They're gonna be equal.
They're gonna be equal. So I'm gonna set these things equal. I would say 6x minus 2 equals 4x plus 8.
Combine your x's.
Yep, let's, I had that wrong. Subtract 4x. You could have done that, but I don't like to. 2x minus 2 equals 8, then what?
You add 2.
Add 2.
So
2x is 10.
x is equal to 5.
So x is 5, and that's all it asked for. It didn't want to know the angles. It just said, what's x need to be? So x needs to be 5. Are we good with that one? Yes. Okay. Now, this one, I'm betting it wants to be a square. I'm in a rectangle. Gosh, can't even say the right thing, and that matters. All right, this one wants to be a rectangle. Okay, I'm not going to work through the problem because we keep doing these over and over. You have to know that the diagonals are equal. Well, these are 2 separate diagonals. Does everybody understand that? There's this one and this one. Those are the 2 different diagonals. So all I need to do is set those 2 things equal. So I'll write it, but are y'all okay if I don't solve it? Okay? Y'all would know how to solve that then? Just move your y's around and move your numbers around. Okay. So you're setting things equal, and let's see what our last problem says. Well, I don't think I want to go over that problem. Let me see what's on your paper if I need to go over anything else. Okay, this. All right. Set those equal, set those equal. Okay. All right, I think you're ready for it. There's some questions that you kind of have to think about, but don't just immediately go to me and ask me. Think about the things, okay? Because it's way easier if you just ask me the question and get your answer. Try to use your brain, okay?